Well, it's now time for my Week 8 picks of the 2020 NFL season, as last week I went 8-6, which is unfortunate. I've had 3 bad weeks in a row, but at the same time, my percentage is still not that far off. I mean, really good, so nice to say at least. And here is the regular season and playoff standings. The season ended today. In the AFC, the Steelers have the bye. Colts are at the Chiefs, Browns at Titans, and Ravens at Bills. And the NFC, it's the Packers with the bye, with Rams at Seahawks, Cardinals at Buccaneers, and Bears at Eagles. And my Super Bowl picks right now would be the Packers beating the Steelers. So let's get to my playoff picks. My picks for Week 8. Starting off with Thursday night tonight, as the Falcons are at the Panthers for legit this time, since remember a few weeks ago I had the Falcons at Panthers early because the site said it was at the Panthers and it was dead at the Falcons. Either way, the Panthers won the last one. The Falcons haven't beaten them in Charlotte since 2017, as the Falcons blew it against the Lions. Defensive struggle this time around, so what the hell is up with that? Your defense showed up, but your offense couldn't? That ain't good. And the Panthers, they had a good fight against the Saints, but just couldn't get it in the end. As you see, stats-wise, offensively, this could be an offensive shootout, especially since the Falcons still have one of the worst defenses, even after that impressive showing last week. Worse than yards, passing yards. It's not looking good for them. I'm picking the Panthers for this one, and they'll sweep them this year. Then we get to Sunday action as a big one in the AFC and the AFC North, as the Steelers are at the Ravens. Oh boy, big rivalry as always growing up, as the Steelers trying to go 7-0 for the first time since 1978. The Ravens, though, won the last 2. They swept them last year. Steelers haven't beaten them since 2018. That was the last time, too, in Baltimore. So the Steelers, they almost choked it against the Titans. Remember, it was like 27-7 at one point, and they only managed to win because the Titans missed a field goal, so they could have maybe still won overtime. So that was kind of a disappointing finish for them. They got to play much better at that. And the Ravens were on their bye last week, as this game was originally supposed to be last week, but because of COVID, it had to get changed around. And if I remember, that's right, they were at the Eagles. You destroyed the Eagles, but you almost let them make the comeback, and if it wasn't for a blown 2-point conversion, they could have tied it. That is kind of concerning if I was you, Ravens. Would be concerned, especially since you're worse in passing yards. Jeez. Although, remember, you're on your they were on their bye, so their stats are deflated because of that. Just like their defensive stats are probably inflated. As the Steelers, I believe it was last week, weren't they number 1 in every single category in defense? Now they went down to 4th and points allowed, and 3rd in passing yards are allowed. But that defense is still really good. Same goes for the Ravens, too. This could be a defensive struggle, but I am going to pick the Ravens for this one. But remember, Ravens, the last time, the last like 5 years or so, the Steelers actually are pretty good against the Ravens down in Baltimore. So don't underestimate them. I won't be surprised if the Steelers win, but I'm picking the Ravens still. They give Steelers their first loss, and everyone will have a loss this year. Then it's the Rams at the Dolphins for the first time since 2012. As this actually could be a big matchup in our conference matchup. The Dolphins won the last 4. The Rams haven't beaten the Dolphins since 2001. And they haven't beaten them in Miami since 1976, for God's sake. That's probably the longest streak I've covered in this series for this year. So the Rams destroyed the Bears on Monday night. Who was surprised about that? And the Dolphins were on their bye last week as they shut the Jets out. Again, who's surprised? As Tua is starting this week, offense is deflated. Offense is deflated. Defense is overinflated because of their bye. It'll be interesting to see how Tua plays his first game, but he's got to go up against a tough Rams team. But I'm going to pick the Rams for this one because I do not know how Tua's going to do in his first start. And I'm just not sure if the Dolphins are just on a lucky streak these last 2 weeks, destroying the 49ers and then shutting out the Jets. I have more faith in the Rams, so I'm picking them. Then it's the Jets at the Chiefs for the first time. Jets at Chiefs for the first time since 2016. As the Jets try to avoid 0-8 for the first time since 1996. As the Jets, oh my God, they blew it against the Bills. That would have been embarrassing for the Bills to have lost that, and they blew it. Oh my God, are you kidding me? They made the Bills look so bad and they still couldn't win. Embarrassing. As the Chiefs destroyed the Broncos, again, who was surprised about that? As, oh my god, the Jets, worse in points, worse in offensive yards, second worst in passing yards. Nothing is really going away. And, I mean, do I really need to say anything else? I mean, come on. I mean, this is like obvious. The question is more of not would the Chiefs, not if the Jets would lose, but how much would they lose by? I wouldn't be surprised if they lose by like 30 or more. But hey, you never know. Maybe the Jets could pull off a stunning upset. I mean, they did. Like I said, they beat them last time they played in 2017. That's the last time, and I thought the Chiefs were going to get that, and the Jets got that offensive shootout. So don't underestimate the Jets, Chiefs. They're getting desperate, so don't underestimate them. Then it's the Vikings at the Packers, as the Packers won the last 3. Vikings haven't beaten them since 2018, and they haven't won in Lambeau since 2017, as they were on their bye last week, and oh god, they got destroyed by the Falcons. Oh my god. Cousins had another free interception day. Oh my god. That team is just falling apart, and I did not expect that for a wild card team last year, as they're just all over the place. And the Packers, oh that's right, they beat the Texans last week quite convincingly. Not surprised about that one. Now Packers, you should not underestimate the Vikings, as you are 2-2-1 in the last 5 games playing them, so don't underestimate them, but I'm picking the Packers still for this one. But don't underestimate the Vikings. They've been all over the place this year. So now we get to the next slate of games, as it's the Colts at the Lions for the first time since 2012, as this is another interesting out-of-conference matchup. The Lions won the last game. The Colts haven't beaten them since 2000 and... Actually, that's incorrect. Last time they beat them was 2012, but they haven't beaten them... Actually, that's incorrect, too. Got him. No, wait, no. That's the last time the Lions beat the Colts at home. They haven't beaten them since 1997 when they host them. So, the Colts were on their bye last week, as they had to make that furious comeback against the Bengals. Kind of worrisome, because how'd you let the Bengals get 21-0 on your ass? But hey, you won in the end, so you're keeping a streak going into the playoffs right now. And the Lions made that comeback against the Falcons, low scores. They won now 2 in a row. Neither team should underestimate each other. And the Colts still had that really elite defense. Lions, I still have a lot of concerns about. I would not be surprised if the Lions win, but I trust the Colts more to get this one. I'm picking the Colts. Then it's the Raiders at the Browns for the first time since 2015. As the Raiders won the last 2. The Browns haven't beaten them since 2014. As the Raiders got just blown out by the Buccaneers. I'm not surprised. And oh my god, the Browns! No OBJ, and they still won on the last second touchdowns. Baker probably had one of his best games of his career when he threw like 5 touchdowns. Stunning! Incredible! They're still winning games despite not having Nick Chubb and now OBJ out for the year. That's still a big concern for the Browns, because their offense is killing it, as you can see, but their defense is dog shit. And that could easily be exploited by the Raiders. I probably would pick the Raiders normally, but I mean, the Browns' offense is playing better. They're winning games despite no Nick Chubb and OBJ coming up. So I'm going to pick the Browns for this one, but I won't be surprised if the Raiders get it. Then it's the Titans at the Bengals for the first time since 2014. As the Titans won the last game, the Bengals haven't beaten them since 2014. As the Titans, oh my god, it looked really bad against the Steelers. You were down 27-7 at one point. You made the comeback, but you blew the field goal. First loss of the year was a close one, so at least you managed to salvage it and make it look like not as bad as a loss as it could be. And the Bengals, oh my god, it happened again. They blew it. They blew it against the Colts, and now they blew it against the Browns when it was even more obvious they should have won that. Let Baker throw that touchdown to seal it. Unbelievable. So far this year, the Bengals have been competitive in every single game except the Ravens one. So if anything, they should be 6-1 right now. But instead they're 1-5-1. They've been really, really close these next few weeks. And you know what? Because the Titans too have also had a lot of close games this year too. You know what? In an upset, I'm gonna pick the Bengals. And I've picked last week and they blew it, I'm going to take the chance and upset and pick the Bengals to get this one. Then we get down to these next games, as it'll be the Patriots at the Bills. As the Patriots, that is incorrect as fuck, wrong spelling. As the Patriots won the last 7, the Bills haven't beaten them since 2016, and they haven't beaten them in Buffalo since 2011. As the Patriots, oh my god, they got absolutely destroyed by the 49ers as Cam threw 3 picks. That whole game had like 7 picks in total, no single quarterback throwing a touchdown. Embarrassing. As the Patriots, now they've lost 3 in a row, which is the first time since 2012, I believe. No, not 2012. 2002, I believe. They are definitely feeling not having Brady. After that strong start, the team is just falling apart right now. It is not looking good. They've already matched their loss total from last year. But the Bills, they've lost 2 in a row, remember? Then they barely beat the Jets, remember? They just barely beat them. The Bills, supposed to be like one of the best teams in the league, win a division, and here they are, barely beating the Jets, for God's sake. There's something definitely wrong with the Bills. It is so obvious these last 3 weeks. They need to get their shit fixed if they want to have any shot of advancing far into the playoffs. So, do not underestimate the Patriots, but I'm going to pick the Bills for this one. I mean, God, if you better beat the Patriots, because if you can barely beat the Jets, you're going to be in trouble if you lose to the Patriots. Just saying. Then we get to our 4 p.m. games, as it's the Chargers at the Broncos. As the Broncos won the last 2, the Chargers haven't beaten them since 2018. As the Chargers, very convincing win against the Jaguars. That offense looked good, as Justin Herbert looks really good so far this year. And the Broncos, no surprise, got destroyed by the Chiefs. As you see, their offensive stats for the Broncos really bad. 3rd worst in points, offensive points. 2nd worst in offensive yards. 4th worst in passing yards. Their defense, though, is pretty good, but I think that might be more because they're on the bye, because it inflates them. Same goes for the offense, probably being deflated because of the bye. Meanwhile, the Chargers, same bye, but look at that. They're actually pretty balanced. Except in points scored. They're not scoring a lot of points, but they're getting a lot of yards. And not allowing that much points either on defense, so they're not playing that bad, but they need to turn it around and start winning close games. But with the momentum on our side, I'm picking the Chargers for this one. But hey, don't underestimate the Broncos. You're like 1-4, I believe, when you visit the Broncos. So history's not on your side, and you've been losing more recently with the Broncos in the last several years. So I would not underestimate the Broncos, but I am going to pick the Chargers still. Then a big one, the NFC West, as the 49ers are at the Seahawks. The 49ers won the last one, the season finale last year, remember? So the Seahawks have not beaten them since 2018 when they hosted them, 2019, last year's Monday Nighter. So the 49ers, how about that? It looked like they were doomed, remember earlier? I mean, a few weeks ago where I said the only teams they beaten were the Jets and Giants, and they looked disappointing all the other games. Now they turned around, they've destroyed the Patriots, and now they have a winning record again and looking solid once again. Let's see if they can maintain that. As the Seahawks, I told you, I warned you all year about this. Same goes for last year, too. The only thing that's saving the Seahawks is Russell Wilson. He is playing an elite MVP level, but the team is so bad that if he doesn't do good, they're going to be in trouble. And that showed last night, last Sunday night. He threw 3 picks for crying out loud. The Cardinals just outplayed them easily, and they won it in the end in overtime to get their first loss. So you got to fix that defense badly and get a better running game, because eventually relying on Russell Wilson alone is not going to help you. That's going to hurt you in the end. You need to be more balanced. But I'm going to pick the Seahawks still for this one. Unless the 49ers could show up and shut down Russell Wilson, then they probably would win that easily. And then I have no idea why they put this on 4 p.m., even though in terms of record it's good, as the Saints are at the Bears for the 2nd year in a row. Remember around this time last year at 4, Saints won the last 5. The Bears haven't beaten them since 2008. As the Saints, just barely held on to against the Panthers. They've won 3 in a row now, starting to get back into mix. Meanwhile, the Bears, as I'm sure no one was surprised, they got destroyed by the Rams last Monday night, as they're a fake 5-2 team. As you can see, their offensive stats are dog shit. Defense not really going so well. And since the Saints are much better and they absolutely destroyed the Bears last year, I'm picking the Saints for this one. But hey, you never know about these Bears. We never know about them. They always seem to pull something out of it. So don't underestimate the Bears, I guess. Alright, then we get to Sunday night. Oh, God. They always keep shoving the NFC least down our throat for no reason, as the Cowboys are at the Eagles. The Eagles won the last one, and the Cowboys haven't beaten them in Philly since 2018, as the Cowboys... yeah. Now Andy Dalton is down for the week. Honestly, as much as I shat on the Jets earlier might be the worst team in the league, we honestly probably should say the Cowboys might be the worst team now, because their defense is dog shit. They don't have Dak now. The fact that their offensive stats are still pretty good without Dak these last 2 weeks and their offense has played so bad, that shows how good Dak was and how much they were forced to use him. But Cowboys honestly might be one of the worst teams in the league. That's how bad they are without Dak. And they got destroyed by the football team last week. That's pretty bad. And the Eagles were... Oh, that's right. Thursday night, they held on to barely beat the Giants. That is definitely not a good thing. But hey, that's been a trend these last several years when they host them. They beat them in a comeback. Oh, boy. So, honestly, as both teams suck, Cowboys are nothing. The Eagles, Wentz is having like one of the worst... He is having his worst year ever. And the Eagles are so bad, but you know what? As bad as Wentz is, I still have more faith in him than I do Dak. I mean, the Cowboys, as we saw last week. So I'm picking the Eagles to get this, as they're going to start getting close to 500 to start taking over the division right now. And then we get to Monday night, as it's the Buccaneers at the Giants for the first time since 2018. This is the 4th year in a row they played each other, as the Giants won the last 2. The Buccaneers haven't beaten them since 2017. They haven't beaten them in New York, well, East Rutherford, since 1997. As the Buccaneers absolutely destroyed the Raiders last week. As that game was originally Sunday night, but they changed it at the last moment. As that offense looks clicking. Brady is having an awesome year now. Look like he's rejuvenating. Incredible performance he had. And the Giants, oh my God. How did you blow it against the Eagles? I still can't believe Daniel Jones had that, what was it, 80-yard touchdown round and he tripped? Come on! Thank God at least you scored a touchdown on that drive, because that's still embarrassing regardless. That was really bad how that happened. But you still blew it against the Eagles, as you always seem to do. And I think it's obvious who you pick in this one, the Buccaneers. But hey, never underestimate your opponent. That's what I always say. So those are my picks for Week 8. I cannot wait for Falcons and Panthers tonight. So my picks, the Panthers over the Falcons, Ravens over the Steelers, Rams over the Dolphins, Chiefs over the Jets, Packers over the Vikings, Colts over the Lions, Browns over the Raiders, Bengals over the Titans in an upset, Bills over the Patriots, Chargers over the Broncos, Seahawks over the 49ers, the Saints over the Bears, Eagles over the Cowboys, and Buccaneers over the Giants. So see you guys next week for my Week 9.